What is up, everybody? This is Dope, and this is Dope Comics on my YouTube channel. I've been seeing people post these top 5 personal books in their collection, and it's kind of put me over the edge. There's a story I've been wanting to tell for the last 15 months I've had my channel, and I've always been on the verge of telling it, but I never have told it. And just because I'm recording this right now don't mean I'm going to let this out. I'm still on the fence, but I decided to show, instead of showing my top 5 personal books, I thought I would show my top 3 personal books and tell you the story. All 3 of them have the same story behind them, but it's graphic, it's gruesome. You might want to cut it off now. When I was a teenager, I lived in a small town, and we had a lot of boys that lived in the neighborhood, and we'd all get together and play football and basketball and just run in the woods together and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And there was one boy that never came out of his house. I'm going to make up a name. This ain't his real name, but we're going to call him Lewis. He never came out of his house. We'd see him get on the bus in the mornings. I was never mean to him, ever. I was never mean to the dude. But I wish I'd have been more nice to the guy. His dad was a garbage man, and on Saturdays he would drive around the neighborhood and pick up everybody's garbage out of their front yard. And a lot of times Lewis had to work with him. So at school, a lot of people made fun of him. A lot of the girls made fun of him because his dad was a garbage man, and kids are brutal. I never made fun of the dude, but I never was really out of my way to go make him accept it either. We'd play games, and we just knew that no sense in asking Lewis. Lewis ain't going to play no games. He ain't coming out of his house. One day, his dad went on a garbage run on Saturday, and Lewis decided to shoot himself in the head with a shotgun in his room. And when his parents got home, they found Lewis dead. And Lewis liked metal music. He liked comic books. At the time, I really didn't know all that. And anyway, fast forward about 10, 15 years later, my mom, that lives in the same small town, came to my new house and brought me a milk crate full of comic books. And it was some really cool stuff, 70s and 80s books. And in those comic books was a bunch of comic books I cared nothing about. It was about the whole run of Micronauts, about the whole run of Moon Knight. But there was 2 or 3 comic books in there that I did like. And I asked her, "Where'd you get these at?" She said, "I got them at a yard sale." She said, the little yellow house up on the hill. And my stomach just sunk because I knew they were Lewis's. It's the only kid they had. These comic books were in his room when he killed himself. I've gave all the comic books away except for 3. I don't care for Micronauts. I didn't care for Avengers. I didn't care for Ghost. None of the Ghost Rider stuff or Moon Knight or any of that. But the 3 I kept. This is my favorite book he had in his collection. And of course, I'm a horror guy. And I kept it. And when I see this book now, I automatically think about Lewis. And I was like, well, I'm not going to tell that story on here. It's too gruesome. Here's another book that was in Lewis's collection. And the last book I kept that was in Lewis's collection, he was a Kiss fan, I guess. So, you know, this, if for the people who don't know, the cover, all the Kiss members bled into a vial, and they poured the vial into the ink when they printed this cover. So every cover has got Kiss's blood in the cover. These go for about $100, I think, on eBay. And all the books that I kept, I put a little note on the back of them. That way I know they came from the Lewis collection, I call it, because I got multiples of some of those books. And I don't want to sell the Lewis version. I got rid of the other version, or not the other versions. I got rid of the other books, and I didn't tell nobody the story behind them. But, you know, we get these books that are 70, you know, from the 70s, and I got some from the 40s, and, you know, these books are 80 years old, and you don't really never get to know the history. If the books could talk, where these books come from. If you got a book from the 40s, chances are the people that originally bought it are dead now. You know, that's 70 years ago. But you never get to know the history. So if I can document the history of some of these sometimes, I like to document the history. And I'm not going to tell you what I wrote on back of this one, but, well, I'll tell you. It just says the book belonged to a troubled teen in a very small town in Tennessee. He committed suicide in his bedroom along with his comic book collection. And I put that on the back of these 3 books. I'll never plan on getting rid of them. But that is my top 3 personal books. When I see these books, when I'm flipping through my little white box, I think about Lewis. I guess the moral of the story is I wish I'd have went out of my way. Like I said, I was never mean to the guy, but I wish I'd have went out of my way to be more nice to the guy. Sometimes not saying nothing at all is, you know, not the right thing to do. I didn't want to be mean to him like most people was, so I don't know, acted like I didn't know he existed, I guess, because I knew he didn't want to come outside and do anything with us other kids, so I didn't try. And maybe I should have tried harder. But just be nice to everybody. Try to make everybody feel accepted. And until the next time, I will see you again beneath a blackened sky.